Well, here I am. I'm talking about Sacktown again. Can the Kings make the playoffs? Yeah. Will they? No. If we talk about the future of this team, it gets very interesting because we've got the Buddy Hield rumors that are constantly a thing. Well, not constantly, but they have been a thing. We got Bogdan's restricted free agency. We've got a random player option for Jabari Parker, which I'm not totally sure whether he's going to accept that or not. We've got a team option for Bielitsa. We've got the constant, is Marvin Bagley healthy? We've got Harrison Barnes making probably about as much money as you'd want him to make, I guess. And De'Aaron Fox remains very good. So this team could just go in 9 million directions. And we've got the Harry Giles restricted free agency. And it just seems like if Harry Giles is going to show himself off as a player, it's not going to be in Sacramento. It just seems like if the minutes were ever really going to be there for him, they would have popped up by now, especially with Bagley missing a lot of time. So what the hell's going to happen with this team? I don't know, man. Does Buddy Hield want to be there? That's step one. If Hield wants to be there, then that makes their offseason more boring, but probably better for them. I mean, the putting him on the bench for Bogdan, like, I get it. And it, to be fair, like, worked for a moment, but it's one of those things where when you do that, that could be the point of no return for your player. Should also be mentioned, Luke Walton's still running the show, and Luke Walton wasn't that great this year. So, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Now, if Buddy Hield is actually available, who would want him? A bunch of teams would want him. I feel like the Knicks could put out, well, they could give you a couple extra draft picks. Maybe that would be enough. Orlando would want him. Insert whoever else would want him. I guess we'll just have to address that if it happens. Now, as far as Bogdan's restricted free agency is concerned, that one's interesting as well. I mean, could somebody give him... Realistically, he's probably going to get give or take like $15 million a year. Are the Kings willing to give him that? I mean, they could afford it. Well, you give him 15, that would take you to 111 as a team. Then you count their draft pick, which could be in the lottery, could not, depends on how their performance in the 8 games goes. They probably don't make the playoffs. So then that guy probably makes about $5 million or so. Now you're looking at about 115, 116 if you bring Bogdan back, which under the previous cap would be right at the salary cap and well below the luxury tax. So, okay, fair. But, yeah, we all know what's going on. So, it kind of puts the Kings in a tough spot for me, because so much of this is just not really known. Now, in terms of things that I think this Kings team just kind of needs, besides the obvious of Marvin Bagley being healthy, I think they need a good defensive center, which they tried with the Dedmon contract, and he wasn't good. And there are some low-cost options between Ibaka, who since being moved to center I think has been pretty good defensively. Tristan Thompson, Marc Gasol would be huge. I think Marc Gasol should be the guy that Sacramento wants. I know his offense is not what it once was, but I feel like if Toronto would let him walk, which I don't know if they will, but if they did, yeah, that would be the one. If I was Sacramento, Derek Favors, that'd be huge. Aaron Baines, we saw the impact he made at times for them. You could try Dwight Howard, hoping that he'll just be Lakers Dwight for you if he's not going to be on the Lakers next year. Robin Lopez, but Robin may just be more of a bench guy at this point. There are some names. There are some boring, but hopefully good centers who can just kind of solidify this team defensively. I feel like Bagley is more of a 4. Could he play center at times? Sure. But his reputation going into the NBA, and we saw it a decent amount his rookie year, not exactly a defensive player, and not exactly a guy that you want being the lone big man defensively. So I think that's the big thing, and I'll get to the draft pick in a moment, but if the Kings could look like, if it's Fox, Hield, Barnes at the 3, Bagley at the 4, and then we'll just say Marc Gasol at center. I think that team's got some chances. Now, if you want to push back on the Marc Gasol thing, he's slow as hell compared to everybody else there. I get it. But I still think they need that kind of a 5. Like a veteran who knows what he's doing defensively. Now, could it be Bogdan there instead of Buddy? Maybe. If Hield wants out, then you give Bogdan some sort of contract. And then I guess you would have ended up trading Hield, which that throws a whole thing into it, because now I don't even know if a starting lineup makes all the sense. You see what I mean? It's tough to project with these guys, but maybe it's Bogdan in place of Buddy in that lineup. Maybe they're both back. I don't know. For what it's worth, Bogdan's cap hold is like $16 million. That throws a little bit of a monkey wrench if they want to start doing whatever in free agency, and he's not their top priority if we get to that. Now again, they do have Bielitsa's $7 million team option, and I like Bielitsa a lot. I think there is an argument to be made that he's better than Harrison Barnes, even if his stat line doesn't look as good. But I don't know, man. I got a bad feeling that he's going to get kind of pushed to the side with this Kings team in terms of either he's not on the team because they just are like, we got to get Bagley in there, and so we're going to decline your option, or he's not going to play a crazy amount of minutes next year. Anyway, let's get to the draft pick. It could be the 14th or 15th pick. It could end up in the lottery, of which then it would be towards the back half of the lottery. Potentially. I mean, I guess it would be maybe like between 9 and 14, just given the new lottery odds. Where do I think they should go in the draft? If they were going to strictly select by position, which they probably shouldn't. They should just pick whoever they think the best player is. But in terms of position, I mean, here's the thing. Like I said, I think they need a good defensive center, but I don't like drafting centers unless the guy projects to be great on offense or defense. I mean, sure, if there was a Wendell Carter available who could be good defensively right when he steps into the league, cool. I guess a Kongwu could potentially be that. I mean, he's a guy that I've mentioned a few times. He's very athletic. He's 6'9", so maybe he's more of a 4, but he plays like a center. That's an interesting one. Wiseman, of course, is exciting, but do you want to do the Wiseman-Bagley front court? That sounds a little frightening. In terms of just pure centers, there's a guy whose name I cannot pronounce, but he's really thin. He's from Serbia, and he's projected into the late teens, so you're probably not selecting him in the lottery. I mean, I guess depending on what Sacramento's plan is with Bogdan, perhaps you're just going to draft a guy similar to him. I mean, they have had Ariza play some minutes for them. They had Bazemore play some minutes, so maybe you just want a 3-and-D wing. There's options. I guess if you wanted to go all in on defense, there is Devin Vassell. There's a Kongwu, as I mentioned before. And to go back a second, when we're talking about guys who could be like Bogdan, RJ Hampton could be a guy. Tyrese Maxey, although he's 6'3", he might project to be more of a point guard. And do you really want to draft a point guard and you already got De'Aaron Fox? I mean, again, if you think he's the best player, then you do it. And to be fair, I feel like De'Aaron Fox can hold his own against most two guards, so it's an idea. The thing with Sacramento, it's like, again, I just don't know if there's like a glaring weakness besides center, and there's not really any safe bets at the 5 with where they would be picking. So it just reinforces that they're in a weird spot, and it's tough to really project what they should do, what they're going to do. But we would hope for next season they at least have Marvin Bagley and De'Aaron Fox actually healthy. I mean, Fox, he ended up putting in a decent amount of games, 45 on a shortened season, okay, but, without Bagley, this year was kind of a wash from the beginning, pretty much. I do want to touch on Jabari Parker's player option real quick. I don't know what he's going to do. It's $6 million. Would Jabari get more than $6 million on the open market? I feel like he kind of would, whether it be from a team like the Knicks or, well, probably the Knicks. And I know we like to clown on the Knicks, But I do think them giving Jabari Parker a contract would be a pretty good idea, because you basically just tell Kevin Knox to go F himself, and now you got Jabari Parker, who has shown to be pretty okay. But if he accepts that player option and he is now a part of this Kings rotation, wouldn't he just be more of a trade chip than anything? I feel like would the Kings really be down for the let's see if Jabari Parker can help us game? I feel like they've got enough stuff to figure out. If it wasn't going to be the Knicks, it could be like the Pistons or the Hornets or, probably one of those teams. I don't know. I've already spent like a minute on Jabari's contract. I thought I was going to spend about 10 seconds. But at the same time, YouTuber 101, I'm trying to get past the 10-minute mark. The Kings are a weird team. Sometimes I feel like they should change almost the entire roster outside of De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley. And other times I think, well, if they're healthy and they get a couple of nice pieces, veterans who can help them on defense and stuff, maybe one draft pick who can maybe hit right away, but that might be too much to ask for, then perhaps they could be fun and good and all that. But again, between Buddy Hield, whether he wants to be there, and then Bogdan's contract, that's kind of the first things to talk about, and everything else is probably going to play off of that.